Why?
There we go. Up, there's Robin from Australia. It's nice to see
Hello.
Robin from Australia. It's all right.
How are you, Teresa?
We are doing very well today. It's a typical Iowa summer. It's hot and humid, and we're going to have a little rain tonight. So that's all right. And it's very green. How's Judy? You're up in Cedar Rapids. Is the weather? Did you get hit just recently with the rains?
I missed that. I was just getting on. What did you ask me?
Oh, I just wondered, didn't you get hit with some serious rains recently up in Cedar Rapids?
We're just talking about that. We want them.
Yeah, no. We do need them. Well, actually, here, for those of you that are not in the Des Moines area, we have water restrictions because the nitrate levels are so high in the water that they cannot treat the water fast enough. So they've asked everybody to not water their lawns. And if that doesn't reduce usage enough, they will put us on water restrictions because the nitrates are coming from the farms up north of here, and
Yeah,
it went very fast, very fast. And we tried to get those counties to do something about it, and courts said, nope, tough kid. You're just stuck with what you got. So that's it. Okay. I thought we talk about Family Search tonight. I don't know how many of you use their wiki at all. Any of you? Robin does, and rest of you, and Judy does. Okay. Sandra, do you use it at all? Sandra may have wandered off, so we'll see what happens. Their wiki is wonderful, and if we're doing Irish research, then maybe it's a good place to start looking to see what they have. It not only introduces you to what they have, it also links you to other places, and it's really a good thing to do. So I am going to go ahead and start sharing, and then if some of you have used this, you can tell us what you kind of like about it, and we'll share that, and let's see what happens. Yeah, as I said, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to shrink this, I'm going to shrink that. Okay. So if you haven't done this, you need an account with them. So up here in the corner, you have a little thing that says create an account. It's free. It's not a big deal. Just create an account. I already have an account, so I'm going to sign in. Maybe. Come on.
Bring in your wind chime.
Whoop. Teresa, yeah. Teresa Miss Hamilton gets to, there she goes. I'm laughing about it. Oh, okay. And I'm going to sign in and put my password in. And hopefully I remembered it. Okay. And then, all right, here we go. It's up and running. And they say a new homepage is coming. They've been telling us a new homepage is coming for quite some time. But we come up here, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can probably see it. Up here on the top, it says search. Okay. And so if you click on search, you get a drop down menu and come down here to research wiki. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to hit the research wiki and we'll see how this works. And then we'll just go playing in it. And you can do it all sorts of ways. You can click on it. You can click on the places that you might be interested in. So if I clicked on Europe, eventually I'd get to Ireland. But what I want to do is I just go into the search bar and I type in a place and then I type in the word genealogy after it. So I'm going Ireland genealogy, right? And then I'm going to search for that. And here we go. And so what I get through here says Irish genealogy. I don't know why it doesn't go there immediately, but it doesn't. And now we get here. Okay. So let's talk about what we've got. I could choose to have this done in Gaelic, but we're not doing Gaelic, so we leave it in English. Information. It tells you about Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, and Northern Ireland. They have online research help if you wanted to do that, which is kind of interesting. We kind of never think about that. They actually have genealogy consultations that you can schedule. They have community groups that I've never tried the Irish one, but I suppose we could check and see if there's a community group for Ireland. So we're going to try that out, see what happens. Maybe. If it's too slow, we won't do it. Okay. And we could just do Ireland. Let's see what we get. And just out of curiosity. And oh, they're verifying I'm a human. Not that it's, I don't know how they're doing that. Okay. And I got no results. That's just really sad. I can't believe that there's not a community group for Ireland, but there isn't. Let's see. They have adoption, Africa, Ainsley, Asia, British Isles research. So evidently there's something there. Canada. Maybe I should have done Irish, maybe, rather than, let's see what I got. Family search. Norway, Portugal, Italia, Francophone. All right. One of these days we might check that one out, but I'll see what happens. Improv, Italy, Ireland research. So they have 200 and something people here. And welcome. So we have to register. And then you get people who sometimes they're looking for evidence of my great-grandfather's great-great-grandmother's son in Athlone, so forth and so on. But there's some help that we could find. So let's see what we can. So we'll get out of that. And then they have online specific genealogical questions or translation requests. If that's not an issue for Ireland, but for, let's say you're doing French research or Czechoslovakian or something like that, you might have to have somebody that would help you go from there. So that's one of the things they offer for us if we're going to do Irish research. The other thing they have online learning. They have research strategies. They have some suggestions on finding the town of origin. They have guided research. So let's look at guided research, see what they talk about. What time period are you looking for? Let's say it's before 1864. Then choose the religion. We'll say they're Catholic, okay, just because. And then before church, then they talk about church records. And then what would you like to talk about? And then they'll take you to birth records. Where can I find birth records? So forth and so on. So it's guided, but it's not, just based on what we just saw. It's not going to take you exactly where you want to, it's not going to answer all your questions. So getting started, we have a nice map here. This is Munster, Leinster, Connacht, Ulster, and then these three counties that used to be part of Ulster are now part of, they did not go to Northern Ireland. They are part of the Republic of Ireland. And then you can click on a county if you want, if you know where your family's from, and see what they have. So I've been helping somebody with Wexford. So we look at Wexford. It gives you a history of the county and what happened there. General information, talks about their archives, talks about the census record. Now, when we start getting down to this, we're going to see this same information county by county. The census records, we're going to get the same information no matter what county. Church records, but they do give you a list of civil parishes and Catholic parishes. They talk about civil registration, which is countrywide. They give you some information about they aren't really city directories, but directories for, in this case, Wexford, dog license registration. And now you notice we're starting to get into this. Dog license registrations at Ancestry, and it's got a little $sign, because if you see the $sign, that means it's at a place where you have to have a subscription. Here's the valuation office books. Here's something else at MyHeritage. I don't know why they would have MyHeritage here, but they wouldn't have Ask About Ireland, because the valuations are free from them. Here's a map, military, newspapers, probate records, so forth and so on. So and then some websites. And again, these tend to be general for Ireland. But let's pretend we are not going to talk about county records. Okay. So then they talk about the counties, and then over here on the side is where we really want to spend some time. So besides the getting started and so forth and so on, here are the record types. So immigration and emigration, that was something that Michael just brought up. So let's talk about that. We'll click on that and see what happens. Okay. See the Irish immigration to North America before, during, and after the famine. That's a tutorial on family search. And then here we have Ireland Beginning Research Series, Immigration, Part 2, Famine and Post-Famine Sources. Okay, and then we have more Irish online classes. So let's just look at what their online Irish. Here's all of their videos that they have. Examining the Irish census, the record introduction to civil registrations, Scottish and Irish genealogy, Ireland Presbyterian records. I mean, not that I want to put us out of existence, but this is a lot of information that's free for you if you want to do it. So we would just click some of the older ones, finding ancestry in Ireland civil registration records. That's 2017. They've made several changes to that website since then. So some of these may not be really current, but here's Ireland Beginning Research Series, Immigration Part 2, famine, which is a lot of our family. And then we go in here, and if we wanted to, I'm not going to, but we could play it. You can play it. They have generally there's, I don't see it. Sometimes there's a handout to go with it, but so you know that's a place to go looking for it. So that's pretty good. Anybody ever watch these? I don't know. Okay. Here is an Irish immigration database. So let's click on that and see what it says. All right. And let's see what's going on here. Okay. Starting in 2001, the John F. Kennedy Trust began to compile a comprehensive Irish immigration database to the United States in conjunction with the Balk Institute of Philadelphia, the Ellis Island Restoration Commission in New York, and the Battery Conservancy in New York. It is compiled directly from the original ship's passenger manifest. Did we know this was here? I didn't know this was here. It records Irish, English, Scottish, and Welsh immigrants arriving in the U.S. ports. It includes the Dumbrody famine ship passenger list. For the Port of New York, the database covers between 1846 and 1890. For Boston, they cover only the famine years between 46 and 51. Okay. Access to the database is through this website. Printouts are available for a small fee. Compilation is large and ongoing process. So we have some other ones as we go through there. So, so if we wanted to go in here, what do you think now? Immigration database. Do you think that's where we'd start? Let's start with that. See what they have. And that's what we just saw. Oh, it's down here. Okay. So I'm going to do mine simply because Thomas, and he arrived between 1865. Oh, I guess we have to he arrived 65, and I know he's here in 66 or 66. We think that's right. I should make this 64. I don't know where he came. I don't know what he's going on. He was between 25 and 65. Well, this is fun. And we get 25 of them. Okay. Well, I can tell you he wasn't the Reverend Thomas McCormick. But I have no idea who any of these other, we have no idea who these people are. He's probably a farmer. Here, you notice the port of departure is Liverpool. This one came through Mediterranean, but the rest of them are all Liverpool. This one, the ship started in Liverpool, stopped in Queenstown, Ireland. So that could be him, but Galway.
But you do know he came through New York.
I have no idea.
Oh.
None whatsoever. That's a terrible thing. I've never been able to find any information about this man. So, and then if we go over here, it tells me these are all New York passenger lists that they put together. So remember, I said he came in the 1860s, and they in their explanation of this database, New York, it goes quite a ways. If he came through any other port, some of those other ports, they stop after the famine. So famine years, and 66 is not considered a famine year. So he may have come through Baltimore or Philadelphia or Boston or all sorts of places. Could have come up from Galveston or New England or New Orleans, but I don't know anything about the man. So you can see my problem. I'm not too sure I'll ever find him as we go through there. Now, obviously, they don't show you the actual what am I trying to say? Ship passenger list. So, and he came by himself. So if you come with a family, that's good. But if you come by yourself, he could be any one of these boys as he come through there. So, but this is something I didn't know existed. So every time we do this,
How do you know he came by himself?
Well, I don't know that, but I have never been able to find a Thomas McCormick coming with any of his brothers and sisters. He could have come with a couple of a brother and his sister. I know, Margaret came about the same time, and they all ended up in Kansas City together. But I have never been able to find a group of young Irish immigrants that were brothers that came on the same ship together. So I
Okay.
don't know. He was not married, so we do know that. So that was one of them. So we've got all of these databases here. We have passengers from Ireland at Ancestry. We have here Ancestry. Here's United Kingdom. Irish immigration lists. Immigration to New England through the port of St. John in New Brunswick, which is kind of interesting. Ireland family and immigrants online. New York arrival lists, 1846 to 51. Passenger list, 47 to 71. Ireland.
Are those passenger lists just for New York?
These are, some are just from New York, some of them are everywhere. So you need to kind of get through that. New York passenger arrival aisles, 1892 to 1924, because Ellis Island opened in 1892. Prior to that, you came through Castle Garden, but they still have the records list if we go from there. Then we have immigration to Canada, 1829 to 1849, what records there are. That's at Ancestry. Parliamentary papers on immigration to Canada in 1826. Irish Canadian immigration reports, 28 to 49. My family could be in there, but I'm not sure they are. So that's going to take me to Ancestry. I have a subscription to Ancestry, so we could do this and we could put somebody in there. Well, let's try. By this time, I think they've decided their name was Howe. Let's see what happens. Nope, George Haw. That's not it. So let's go back to their normal spelling and see if anything's in there. But you always want to read the description. I'm kind of cheating on this. Yeah, the widow Howe. So what is this database? These are records and reports of Canadian immigration agents, James Allison and A.J. Buchanan. So they really aren't official government records. They are records of people who made arrangements for people to come over. The Nelson collection. So, you know, people would buy their tickets in Ireland and come to America, or to Canada in this case. So it's kind of interesting to see what's going on. So that tells you what came from: names of orphan children entrusted to the care of the ladies of the good pastor, names of orphan children in the charge of the Bishop of Montreal. 75 pages of these collection are Irish immigrants. They have their date of the ticket, the number of adults, children, and infants in the party. So this is kind of a hit or miss. Your family might be in there, but it's not a full collection. The Irish Ancestor Periodical. This is this would be Robbins. There are many indexes in the Irish Ancestor of convicts requesting wife and children to be sent out to Australia at the government's expense. Robin, have used that. Obviously, that doesn't get our American ancestors, but we get some other people. Have you used that at all?
No, because I don't have any convicts.
Oh, I thought maybe you did research for other people. You're not.
No, I don't. But
Okay, yeah,
that,
I know your one ancestor paid his way and got on the wrong boat, but that's neither here.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
that thing's interesting. That's something I didn't know until I found out about that. In actual fact, the government paid for the families of convicts to join them in Australia,
Yeah.
which I think was very amazing of them to do that.
Yes, it was. It was.
Because
So here it has the Irish Ancestor. It has the digital copies of, must be a magazine, 1969 to 1986. So if, you can get the back copies of that, which, again, Australian type fish. Earl Grey Irish female orphans sent to New South Wales.
I can tell you about that one if people are interested.
Sure.
During the famine, there were lots of orphan girls, and there was a scheme that Earl Grey, he of the famous tea name, started to send these girls to Australia because there was a great shortage of females, and 4,000 Irish girls from workhouses immigrated. They were encouraged to immigrate to Australia, and a huge number of Australians are descended from those girls, as you can imagine. There were 4,000 of them.
I just cannot imagine getting on a ship. And how many months did it take to get there? I mean,
3 to 4. 4 months in those times.
Do you know what was the mortality rate for these girls? I mean, did they
I'm not sure about the mortality rate at all, because I don't have
you don't have them either, so that's it. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But it's amazing how many of them went on to have famous Australians as their descendants. But they weren't just thrown on the ships. They were given clothing. They were given things to take with them, and they were looked after because they were valuable. They needed them to be servants, and to marry.
And marriage and populate the country. So that was it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And then on this next one, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't take all your time. But
no, we'd like to hear it. Yeah.
There's a wonderful monument to the famine in Sydney. And on that monument are the names of many, many of those girls, because they were all in workhouses because of the famine.
Okay. Wow.
Anyway, it's very moving, the monument. Yeah.
This next one I find interesting is passenger list to Ireland. This is transatlantic migration from North America to Ireland, which I guess evidently sometimes people went back. So, or went for other reasons. And then we have some other interesting things here. But that's one of the things. So every time we look at this, we find something new. So that's it. What do they have here? They have church records. So if we looked in church records, because we spend a lot of time looking at church records, they talk about online resources, Ireland birth, death, and marriage records, Roots Ireland, which is the one I use, but that is a paid subscription. Irish Genealogy .ie has church records for County Kerry, Cork, and most of the city of Dublin. Here are the Diocesan and Prerogative Marriage License Bond Index, 1623 to 1866. These will be generally non-Catholic, but there's some to there. Then they actually tells you how
Lisa,
do
are you
you.
still on Family Search or are you on Ancestry?
Oh, I'm back on Family Search.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
this is
Sorry
we're
to
still
disrupt you.
we're
Sorry.
still looking at our wiki,
Okay.
our research wiki.
Okay.
They tell you how to use this collection. And then they say it's also at MyHeritage and Find My Past, but we get it for free at Family Search. So let's see what we get it. We go into that one, see what happens. And I cheated. I didn't look to see how it goes. Microfilm of the original records from the Dublin Public Record Office. Although these licenses were issued by the established Church of Ireland, they were issued to Catholics as well as Protestants who chose to be married by license. Most of the actual licenses were destroyed in the 1922 fire. And so I think in modern days, we all have marriage licenses, but in the old days, we were talking about this, you didn't necessarily need a license. You went to your local church, whatever church you belonged to, and they published the banns for 3 months, three weeks in a row. And the Catholic Church continued to do that. When my husband and I were getting married in both our home parishes, they said that Teresa McCormick and James Lewer are getting married. And they did that 3 weeks in a row before I got married. So if you just got married by banns, but if you didn't want to post the banns, or you wanted to get married sooner, or you wanted to get married in you were the Earl of such and such, and you wanted to get married in your home, or you wanted to get married in the afternoon because you had to get married in the morning if it was a church record, you could buy a license, and that allowed you to get married when and where you wanted to get married. So that would so if we were to look in here, I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to look for somebody by the last name of Henry, because that was the landlord. So here's George Henry. And what do they tell me about it? They tell me, let's see if we see it. Family Search has just got really interesting things. Provided by the National Archives. Okay. And then it's just an index. So here's my Henrys that are getting married, and they don't tell me a whole lot. It tells me that it's in the Diocese of Meath, the groom, the bride, what year they're getting married, and go from there. So, but because I was curious about Henry's, because you always want to know who your landlord is, but I don't know where he was from. So that's not a whole lot of information, unfortunately, but you could try to see if the church records existed for that parish or something. What else we got here? Let's go back. Abstracts of genealogical records collected by Sir William Betham. Crossley genealogical abstracts. Thrift genealogical abstracts, Gertrude Thrift. Most of these people were either professional genealogists or they were doing family histories for themselves. So they're going to be very, very focused as that. Then they talk about Church of Ireland, what we have at Find My Past, and then Index of Church of Ireland Diocesan Marriage Licenses. Here's the Catholic registers on Ancestry, the qualification in convent rolls at Family Search, the National Library, where we know they have, that's where we actually see those church records, and then Find My Past. But the Ancestry and Find My Past have the index that we can go from there. the Ireland Catholic Qualification and Convert Rolls, 1701 to 1843. Let's see what they tell us about those. I was reading them the other day, thought it was interesting. Eventually. During the 1700s, Catholics were restricted from owning property, holding public office, and voting. Due to these restrictions, some chose to renounce their religion and convert to the Church of Ireland. In addition to church rights participation, in other words, they went to their local Anglican church, Church of Ireland, and joined, they were also required to file a certificate in a court of law, and that's what these are. Multiple courts had authority to grant these rights. They'd include the King's Bench, Common Pleas, so forth and so on. The original rolls were kept by the Chancery Court Rolls Office until 1867, at which time they were transferred to the Public Record Office. The original documents were destroyed in a fire in 1922, but these calendars survive. And it's not a calendar like you and I think about. It's a list. It's a finding aid is what it is. It's not a list. So if we put in, oh, I don't know, let's see what the Fogartys were up to. And so we have somebody in 1794 who in Munster. Fogarty is a kind of common name around there. Let's see what they tell us. And it doesn't tell us a whole lot. It just tells us that, well, here's Michael Fitzpatrick, who was a Nina wig maker in Nina. In 1793, joined the Church of England. Here we have all these Fogartys in Thurles. And if we see what he is, oh, this is where he lived as we went through there. So that was kind of interesting. So sometimes you get where they live, sometimes you get what they did for a living, evidently. So again, not the names are common enough that I don't know if that's going to help you any, but it gives you an idea of what's going on with with events in Ireland at that time. So those are the kind of church records they're showing us. And a lot of this, what they have is we can find, that's the qualification. Large database with many record types, Irish Records Index, Ulster Historical Foundation. Then they come down here and they give us, if you're doing Church of Ireland, the RCB library and request a search, a list of parish registers, which we've talked about that a little bit, up in Public Record Office, what they have, National Library of Ireland and the historical background, that's about Ireland, and then major religions, go from there, and they have tutorials. Again, we can find this multiple, we saw it another place, but here it talks about if you want to know about Ireland Presbyterian Church records, Catholic records, Roman Catholic ancestry, right here, go through there. And then they give you some search strategies. So that's kind of cool. So those are the church records. What else do they have here? Things that our families are likely to be part of. Land and property. See what they have for land and property. So they start talking about freeholders. Those are people who owned their own land or had a long-term lease. The Ireland Registry of Deeds, you notice that goes for 100 and something years and up to 1832. The tithe allotment books, those are at Ancestry, but they're also available at the National Archives in Ireland. The Sustainability Loan Fund, that's at Ancestry. Sometimes it's easier to find the stuff on this website than it is to identify the collection on here rather than on Ancestry, but then you can go to Ancestry and do it. But here's the tithe allotment books again, they're free at National Archives. The valuation records at Ancestry, we have to pay for that, but they are free at Family Search, okay? Griffith Valuation, there we go, Ask About Ireland, but also for a paid, you can see it with Griffith Valuation at Find My Past, Ancestry. Landed court estate files. Now, these are kind of interesting. And it's been a while since we talked a little bit about it. 1850 to 1885. These include details on bankrupt estates as well as landowners and tenants from all counties in Ireland. And you know, we know the consequences of the famine for the the working poor, the peasants, and so forth and so on. But the landowners, there were economic issues for them as well because they were not receiving rents, and so many of them had loans against their properties, and they couldn't pay the loans, so they were bankrupt. So the properties had to be sold, and there were issues about which creditor was going to be paid first and second and third. Here we know how it works. First one to get to the county recorder and record that loan gets number one in the title. But so if we were to do this, we also call these the encumbered estates. So we'll do that. Andrew McCormick, and we'll say he's in Tipperary. And let's see what happens here. And we could try this one. 1865. Let's pick one. Let's do him. See what happens. Let's see if he shows up here. It's the one I care about. Check. Oh, I have to go to Family Search Center to do that, unfortunately. So I can't get to see him. That's too bad. So sometimes there's a little bit of truth in advertising as we go through here. I could have sworn they had him, but let's see what happens. Let's get out of there. Get back out of here. Return of owners of land in 1876. Who owned the land? Let's see who owns the land. That would be interesting. I think this is anybody that, oh, this is Find My Past. It's fine. I'm not going to sign in. I've got a subscription, but I'm not going to sign in. Estate commissioner's offices, applications from evicted tenants, valuation revision books at Prony. There's my encumbered estates. That's what I was looking for. I'm going to go ahead and show you what they look like. It's on Ancestry. And we'll say Tipperary. So this is something we might be able to find. What the heck? No, not Tippecanoe.
And Tyler too?
And Tyler too. Okay, here's Ann. Could be here. Let's try him on this one. No, well, Ballier North is part of it, but let's go to the other one because I know this is mine. Here, Court Les O'Brien. We always know that. So what it is they are selling the property, and the court is taken over, and they have a whole lot of information. So they actually, let's start with the very beginning of it and see what we can find. So in effect, this fellow by the name of Charles Henry owned just about the entire parish as we went through there. So if I were to go back to where it began, see if we can find it. I don't know where it starts, but you notice I get every one of these. Well, these are all town lands. And then they tell you who's living in the town line. This is 1858. So we go back up, and here's one more time. There's my Court Les O'Brien. Okay. And then we come over here. And next page, here's all the tenants. Here's Andrew. He has 12 acres. I think that's what they're saying. Yearly rent was £12. Supposedly had 20 acres, which I don't think he really had 20 acres as we go there. He's a tenant from year to year. the tenancies determinal on the 1st of November of each month. And, you know, we use May 1st and November 1st even now in Iowa for paying agricultural rents. So they were telling, you know, whoever was going to buy this land, they were giving him the fact that they, at this rate, they were going to get 210 pounds in rent, and they had to pay 15 pounds in the tithe. And so that would leave them with 194. And then, let's see, I should have looked to see what this was. I'm sorry. They told me Andrew, if I look at this, was 15B. So if I go back one page to it, we look for 15. Here's 15A, 15, and 15B. So here's where the property is. And I've seen that property. There's nothing left. There's no houses left. This is John Egan's house. But so you come up this road, you come up here, you turn here, here it is, keep going, and then you come back down. So I mean, that's just amazing. So he had this land here, and he had this little bit of jog of land over here, and you know, they had little fields all over the place. So so if you know somebody that probably was in that point, you know, there's a good chance that the encumbered estates might give you some news about that. Here are landed estate rentals. I don't know what that is. Let's try it, see what happens. See what they tell us it is. Oh, this is the encumbered estates again. So that's just what we looked for. So we could have found, here they are, but they're not indexed. There's two issues. Number one, there's no index. And notice over here, see the camera? But down here in the little camera, it has restrictions. That little bitty notch at the bottom means there's restrictions, which means you have to go to a family history center, which is the LDS church, or to an affiliate library, which is the Iowa Genealogical Society. But if you're going to come to the Iowa Genealogical Library, then you might as well just use Ancestry and get that same information. So that's it. Wow. The landloaders of Ireland, alphabetical list of the owners of estates of 500 acres or $500, 500 pounds valuation. I'm just being nosy, so I'm going to go look and see what I can find on this one. And it's a book, but I can view a digital version of this item. So I'm going to click. Always look to see if they've got that kind of thing. I can view inside. This is U.H. Hussey de Burgh. I'm trying to view inside. Oh, it's loading. Okay, there we go. And holy moly. This is not what we want. This is very bizarre. Why am I getting all of this? Anybody have an idea what's going on here? I've got 64,000 of them. So whatever that's supposed to mean. View inside. Let's see what happens if I just click on it. There we go. There we are. Okay. We can make it. So we could do page by page. It's supposed to be in alphabetical order. This is interesting. There is a search function. Let's see what we can do. Let's do Harrigan. Let's see if that shows up. I'm not too sure. Nope, it doesn't show up. I can't remember what the landlords were. So now we could do page by page, which is very boring, or we can go up here where the page viewer is, and I'm looking for somebody that's got, so I'm going to change the page to 20 year, 20. I am going to try to make this, oh, this is done by location. That's weird. Okay. This is how you read the books, and it doesn't always work. So let's take it up to 40. Oh, and now we're doing it alphabetical. So now we're going to go to 75. Let's see if 75 gets me to the H's. Nope, we're into the B's. So we'll go to 100, 150. And we're up to Darley. Well, we're not going to make you do that. Okay. But that's kind of how you read books, just like we do anything else. So, so that was land and property. I don't know. What else have they got on the side? What do we see on the side here you'd like to look at? Got cemeteries, census, church records, church directories, compiled genealogies, court records, so forth and so on. Anybody got something you'd like me to click on, see what it looks like? You're such a quiet group tonight. Anybody? Military records, newspaper. Let's look at newspapers. Tell us what they can tell us about newspapers. Find My Past is the big one for some Irish newspapers. Irish newspaper archives. Ireland online newspapers. Okay. Ancestry has some. And the British newspaper archives, because remember, Ireland was part of the, the British Empire for a long time. And then they have some specific ones here that we can go through here. And it talks about pre-1750 newspapers, very little local news. They started to show notices of marriages and deaths with increasing frequency. But the peasant out, my peasant family is not going to be in there. Their landlords would be. And then we have newspaper archives, and then we have some books as we go through there. So let's see what we get here. The Belfast newsletter, Belfast Morning News. Should we see what's going on in Belfast up through 1849? Let's see if that's free. Okay, that's fine. Just put cookies on me. I'll take them all off. Oh, it's Find My Past, so it's not free. So that's an issue as we go through there. Okay. The British Newspaper Archives. Let's see if that's free. We like free. It comes from the British Newspaper Archive and is a collaborative project with Find My Past. So I think we're going to be out of luck on this one, but you never know. It's got family search, so let's just see if Fogarty shows up. Yeah. Okay. We don't normally don't actually see anything, but we see a transcript, I think is what we get. We don't get to see the newspapers. What does she say? A birth notice, Mr. and Mrs. Fogarty in Devon, England. So, I mean, you're going to have to tell them if it's going to need to be Ireland. So if we did that and we put in Ireland and say, I only want Ireland, put an X over here in the little box, which makes it exact that. Now we'll see if we get something for Ireland for Fogarty's. Yep, here's an obituary in County Cork. An obituary. They're mostly obituaries, but we get a little of everything. 69. So, and they tend to be County Cork, you notice. So evidently they worked hard with the County Court records as we go from there. If I were to work at Haddon, see what happens. Search. I have no idea that. I just hung that up on somebody. Sorry about that. Do we get any Haddons? Major Haddon and Lily Jane Haddon, none of whom I know. So that's it. That would be interesting. Who's Lily Jane Haddon? Who did he marry? Because that could be my family or a extended family, and married.
John.
Doesn't tell me who. Doesn't tell me that the husband's name was John. That's the best we can do. Oh, the spouse's father's name was Haddon. So whoever it was, John Haddon, married Lily Jane, but doesn't tell me who Lily Jane's last name is. So that's tacky. I don't know. Can't figure that one out. Let's see. So we got newspapers. So that's something we might be interested in. And let's go back and who's got a county? Let's see. Who's got a county that they're interested in that you know where your family's from?
Westmeath.
Westmeath? Okay, let's see if we can get Westmeath. So that's it. We have here, there we go. So it tells us all about Westmeath. Says there's census records, talks about the church records, the Westmeath here and so forth and so on as we go through. And civil registrations and directories, land and property. There's nothing really specific for Westmeath. These tend to be just general things as we go through there. Here is a county map, which is interesting to see. I always like county maps. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. So let's do a large view. Oh, sorry about that. Come on. I am not activating an account. Looks like we're not going to get a large view of it. Okay. So we have maps, the memorial records of World War I. Because you have to remember, Ireland was part of Great Britain in World War I, so they fought on behalf of England then. But there's nothing here really specific to Westmeath other than we get some parish maps and so forth and so on. Here's the civil parishes. Okay. It tells you the civil parish, the barony, the poor law union, the Catholic parish. That's nice to know what the Catholic parish is and what the Catholic diocese is. So we can from there. Anybody else got a county that they care about? I know, Robin, you've got Galway, if I remember correctly. Let's see if they have something specific. There's the history. National Library of Ireland. County Galway burials. That's interesting. There's the Shanaglees Townland. Somebody's done that churchyard. The census, online records. Representative church body has about all the surviving church records. Go from there. Presbyterian records, Catholic records, civil registration, directories, estate records, St. George Mansard estate records at Find My Past. I'd love to know more about them. Military, list of all town lands in County Galway, probate, school records, societies, websites, Jane Lyon's website for Galway Records Online. So there's nothing, John Grenham does, in all honesty, a better job than that. But that's it. So I don't know. But I mean, Judy Pohorski, you said you use this. What, not necessarily for Ireland, what do you use the research wiki? What have you used it for?
I do a lot of Czech genealogy, so I use it for that. Just looking up what they have.
Do you look under Czech CZECH.
Yeah,
Oh, CZ. Let's do
go to
this.
Europe and sometimes I'm looking for what regions and
Mhm.
kind of different things like that.
Let's look under check. Let's see if yeah. Okay. And now we have that because they are,
Lots of times
Um,
words.
yeah, like some words. I will tell you for almost any for country that's not an English speaking country, they have lists of words for that you would be interested in genealogy. So here's the map. It's going to be a little slow coming up. And then list of archives. And then we come over here. And where do we find the words? Because they used to always do that. Maybe it's handwriting.
List a word list, Czech, German, and Latin, and that's all used always in the records.
Yeah, where did they?
The
What
bottom.
if I? Is it the?
Um,
Oh, there it is. Check your
yeah.
word genealogical word list. So if we were to go into check, they will have the words. They tell you a little bit about the language, and then
which is crazy.
yeah. So the word for baptism is this, or baptisms. Catholic is that. Census is that, so forth and so on. But then they do it the other way around. Here's their numbers. And
Mhm.
so we go from there, months of the year, times of the day, and then we just do words. And I was using this for somebody who was from Serbia,
Oh,
and
sure.
a friend of mine. And so I was able to translate what the forms were talking about, and then some other things as you go through there. So
Yes.
yeah, that's really a nice thing to have. Okay. Where's your family from that you were working in Czechoslovakia?
Well, it's my husband's. I'm not,
Yes.
I'm Irish.
I know you're Irish, but yeah, your husband.
So, no, he is from Litomyšl. All of his grandparents basically are from there.
Okay.
There's only two that come from over around Pilsen. The rest are over on the eastern side.
Okay, so here's Pilsen right there.
Yeah,
And
they're
then
well,
they're
they're
over.
just south of Prague, kind of. So yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Never let it be said that we can't figure out what's going on. So that's it. Okay. Anybody else use it? I saw somebody else's hand go up. No?
Using it for United States. I mean,
Oh,
looking.
sure. Yeah. Like if I was gonna look for, oh, I don't know. You can put any county in the United States in there. So who's got somebody, a county that we could look at?
Go to New York. Go to, I don't know. Go to Iowa.
Well, let's do Orange County, New York. Orange, New York. See what happens if I do this. Because that just showed up. Orange County, New York. And here we have, it was named for the Prince of Orange, who became William III. Orange County Courthouse is in Goshen, New York. Birth start in 1880. 19 tells me when the records start. Record lost. There was a courthouse burned in 1774. Okay, that's a long time ago. We're not used to that in Iowa. Let's see. Here's the towns as we go through there. Bible records, biographies, cemeteries, census records. They're talking about the federal ones, and then they talk about state ones and the fact that there is an 1825 one, and New York State film has 1825, 1835, 1845. I should be looking in those because I'm looking for somebody maybe there. And then church records, Reformed Church, court records, directories, funeral homes, land and property. Okay. Revolutionary War records, naturalizations, newspapers. The Barber collection has some. so forth and so on. Anytime it's in blue, that means there's a link to it, so we can get into it. And then probate records and go from there. So yeah. So every county has this kind of information. So it's interesting. So if we were to go back and look in Lynn County, because that's where Judy's from, Lynn, Iowa. Lynn County, Iowa genealogy. And then we get the same information there, the courthouse, when did the records start, boundary changes. And when you're doing county courthouse, county records, this says here, if we click on this down here, map of the US.org, animated history of how Iowa came up. Let's see if it works out this. This is not the one we normally use, so it must be something new. Okay. Interactive, yeah, Animap. So we may have looked at this before, but this is the history of Iowa in counties, okay? So, okay, this is the original Missouri Missouri territory. And then if I just tell them to play it, it just kind of goes 1880, Iowa, Missouri admitted state, 1834. We have, whoops, it's going a little faster. I can pause it. I could stop it. So here we have in 1837, these are our counties as we go through here. Johnson County, this one goes all the way over. This goes all the way over. It's kind of interesting to see. So you can just see how they created the counties. I will play it again, and then slowly but surely, you just see what happens. Originally, we had two counties. We had the northern half was Dubuque, and the southern half was Des Moines. So we kind of just keep going through there, and here's Mahaska, Monroe, Warren, Madison, Dallas, Polk, Jasper. Whoop! Look at Pottawatomie. It's a big one. And then they took Pottawatomie and subdivided it pretty soon. And yep, and there we go. And then you notice up here, we have this one here. That's Kossuth. And then pretty soon it's going to have a change. And then we have some merging and moving around. And now Kossuth got really big because Bancroft went bankrupt. And you notice that's a very odd size one there. So
What year did we get to that level of counties?
this is 1859. So by 1859, we pretty much have all of our they're changing names. Buncombe became Lyon. Crawford came out of there. Crocker from Kossuth. So they were changing a little bit around, but by 1860, we pretty much had all of our 99 counties and then some. So you can do that. It's kind of a fun thing to watch as you go through that. Okay. Boundary changes, all the other things that we kind of care about are there. Okay. So I really encourage you to use this kind of situation. The other thing,
Will it show us the states as they change boundaries? Because I have family in Hamilton County, Ohio, and sometimes it was West Virginia.
well, let's go look at it in Ohio. Let's just look at Ohio genealogy. Okay. And let's see if they do something similar to that. Here's the clickable map. We don't want that. What do we have over here?
See, Washington's right down there next to like West Virginia.
There, yeah, just across the river. Kind of came and went. So there's gazetteers, maps. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they have old maps for them. Types of maps, city wards, county atlases. I'm thinking maybe I thought maybe they would have a little bit of that kind of situation, a history of the Almost have to
Mhm.
do it by the United States and county map.
Oh,
No, that's not it. Map showing the formation of counties in Ohio and how the boundaries of the counties change. The Ohio map has county formation years. Oh, I think that's going to take us back to what we were doing. Okay. It's going to be very similar to what we happened.
oh.
Interactive, that's the formation. So let's see what happens if we do that for Ohio, and let's see if they start moving counties in and out. And now I get a 4015, 404 error. That's not good. There we go. Play. Yeah. So I think we're going to see Washington down there. It's a very large
Mhm.
county in 1795. And
Yeah.
then, yeah. So let's go see what happens here. So if we probably clicked on Washington, we would find out that it was originally part of something or other, something or other. So that it doesn't look like the actual state borders are moving after this point.
Mm-mm.
Okay. So if I clicked on Washington, so let's go look at your Washington. Excuse me. So if I did Washington, Ohio, am I spelling it right? No, first of all.
Ohio.
Yeah, I know. They don't cut you any slack. Okay. And so if we look at our creation for that down in the maps, I'm not getting what I want. That was where we went last time. That's not what's going on here. Let's go back here. Boundary changes. Okay. Interactive map. There we go. So it's not really telling me what I want to know about Washington. With the map, it tells me this, that they generally say it was formed from unorganized land in 1788. There was no parent county, so that must be after post the Revolutionary War. So we'd have to spend some more time in there, see what we can find. The other thing that we are getting more and more, we go back to the original family search, our opening page. And for those of you that sat in on came to the spring conference, we spent a lot of time talking about family search, and one of them was the labs, and they are adding more and more information here that can be searched with full text. And it's amazing. It's not 100% of their collection, but an awful lot of their collection. So who has somebody with a probate record that you might be interested in trying to find them in a probate record or a land record? I'm always curious to see. Any names? If not, I'll pick somebody just because I can.
I've done a few.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I've done a few for the Manions and Maguires
Okay.
at Adair County.
Okay. Well, give me a first name to go with one of them.
James Maguire.
So we'll do James
And
MC.
MC
Yeah.
Guire. Guire.
Yeah, just a minute here and I'll finish coughing. And now
Sorry.
I'm actually putting capital letters and everything else. You do not have to do that. So I'm just going to do
Mhm.
James McGuire. I put him in quotation marks because I want that exact name. We
Mhm.
come over to search, and I'm going to get a lot more than I really want. This
Mhm.
is how I do it. I found it to be the most successful. I come up here to place, okay, and
Mhm.
I choose my place slowly but surely. Maybe not today. I'm going to go United States. Then I'm going to come down here to Iowa. And then I'm going to come down here to Adair County. He's in there 59 times. I'm going to apply it. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean it's 59 documents. It's his name picks up, so forth and so on. So here is his probate record. Is this your probate record of the family you're
Yeah.
looking at? Okay.
Yes.
So here's the probate record. Let's see if it's it may be just the index. We'll find out what's going on. And so you end up looking at a lot of things that you kind of go, oh, let's see what happens. Maybe. Okay. Yeah. And here we have all sorts of things with James McGuire. A notice of the filing of the final report. Here is Margaret McGuire Administratics. And Robin, for those, you may not be conversant how this works. If you die intestate, you have an administrator. If you die with a will, well, it does say he left a last will. You have executors. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, there was legal backwards and forwards about whether
Okay.
the will was legal or not.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it says the last will and testament, but which will fail to nominate an executor. So that's why we do not have an
Yes.
executor. So the administrator is appointed by the court. So that's what we got through there. Okay. He died seized of one homestead, 140 acres of land in said county of Adair, described as follows, and so forth and so on. And then he talks about there's a mortgage that has to be paid. And it goes on here and who owes what and interest accrued on the mortgage they had to pay. And there's another mortgage here. Whoa. He left some debt behind.
He did.
Yeah. So as we got finished, it was $2,100 worth of debt at least, and go from there. So this is the kind of thing that you can find. Now, this is great. We would have been able to find this the hard way, but we could have gone into the probate records and looked in their indexes and found this, and it ultimately show up. But this one just automatically takes you to it and goes from there. But the other good thing is this also names anybody. You can look for anybody's name. So his wife was Margaret, right? So we can do a list. We can do a search for Margaret McGuire. And she's not the deceased. It's not her estate, but she's going to show up. So again, now we are in date. So she's listed in this probate record, She's listed in some deeds. She's an administrator. She assigns and so forth and so on. She's selling the land, evidently. So she's listed in a lot of this stuff that we got through there. Maggie, oh, this is interesting. Maggie and Margaret. Maggie, one of them's so we now all of a sudden we have a guardianship type situation where we have a child that's underage and is listed. So you get a lot of information. So let's find this. There. To Patrick McGuire, Lizzie McGuire, Katie McGuire, Mary McGuire, Owen McGuire, and Maggie McGuire, and Margaret McGuire, mother of said minors, You will, each of you are hereby notified that there is now on file in the office of the clerk of the Circuit Court of Dare County a petition of Margaret McGuire as administratrix of the estate of James McGuire, late of this said county, deceased, asking said court to authorize and empower her to sell the following real estate, to wit, okay, because these children as minors, they were heirs, and so they had to know what was going on with it. So that was a tough one. That's a tough one. Go from there. Trying to think of who else just to show off some, boy, I don't know. I don't know if they've got this or not. I doubt it. They have it. James Barrett, Barrett. Because not every county has been nice enough to let people come in and do let Family Search do this. Oh, I don't want a dare. I'm going to close that. Okay. Place. I'm going to come to United States. There's 74,000 of them. Now I'm going to go to Illinois. Okay. And let's see if DuPage shows up in here. Unfortunately, DuPage does not show up. They have not participated in it, nor, although Cook has, so you just never know. Cook, Evanston, and so here we have 60, and we'll see what happens. Pullman Car Works collection. It's kind of interesting. That's it. Illinois directories. Ooh, that'd be fun if you're looking for somebody in a city directory. This would just take you right into it. So it's amazing what they've got. So this is ultimately their goal is to have everything that they have scanned, everything that they have microfilmed, to have it scanned and digitized and have it be searchable this way. Wouldn't that be wonderful? That's a whole new thing. That's it. But let's see if I can find, let's do Patrick Slavin. But they do not let you, they take you literally as what you type in. Okay. They don't let you, you can put a question mark. Oh, how'd that happen? Let's start over again. You can use trying to get out of this. Just go back to where I start. Come on, let's get out of here. Let's try this. Patrick, and I can do SL asterisk VIN. Okay. And then let's see if we can get by with that in quotation, because sometimes it's SLA, sometimes it's SLE. So I don't know what we're going to get. Nope, they didn't like that. The question mark and asterisk are what cannot be used within quotations. Okay, well, that means if I really want to do this, I'm going to have to do it this way. See what happens. And now my place is United States. My place is Illinois. And we have Cook. Okay. We have deeds. I've never. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. And this is Cook County, and Cook County is not the easiest to work with. So what do we tell me here? Oh, this is my family. Aha! Okay. Between Patrick Slavin Sr. of the town of Lamont and Francis Slavin of the county, so forth and so on. And for $300, he's selling him a gray mare, about 9 years old, one gray horse, about 11 years old, one brown horse. He's selling horses. Interesting. Okay. So that's Patrick Slavin Sr. That's my family. Okay. That's interesting.
How about William Vassar?
Okay, second, let me get out of this and see what I can get out of here. Go away. And we'll try it again because these are always good places to start looking. I'm going to start over again, just clear this out. Okay. So I know a new homepage. I'm coming down here, down to the side. And sorry about that. I went a little faster than I needed to go. Coming down here to labs. If you haven't already turned it on, you have to turn it on down here, but we're going to do that. I'm going to full text. Okay, and now what is the name I'm looking for, Betty?
William Vassar.
William and VAS.
SAR.
Okay, like the
R.
women's school. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll get a full one, and then we'll go from there. So if I get 1,200.
Okay.
So where would he
Kansas.
have been living? In Kansas.
Kansas.
Let's see. There's Kansas. There's 19 of them.
Oh,
Okay. Brown, Montgomery, and Osage. Do any of those counties sound familiar?
well, this one says Humboldt. Is there a Humboldt?
Don't know. Let's
Kansas.
Google. Let's look at Humboldt. BOLLDT.
B.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, that's I went Iowa. Humboldt,
No,
Kansas. No, I went
Kansas.
Kansas is what I want.
Yeah.
It's a city in Kansas, and it's going to tell me it is what county is in. It's in Allen County. Okay. So
But that's William. I said William Vassar in Humboldt.
Yeah. So what happens is that is not, none of these are Allen County, but let's look at them and see what happens. Here's Osage. Apply. Let's see what we get for William Vassar. Oh, see, now this isn't working. I'm
Mhm.
getting William Everson of Vassar, William. So that's not working. And one of the problems could be that Humboldt has not allowed them in there to do this.
Humboldt, Kansas.
Yeah, Humboldt County
Hey, Teresa,
or
you're looking
Allen
at,
County.
is
What?
it just probate records come up? But let's
No,
say they
it's-
just sold the farm or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's land records, it's probate records, it's city directories, it's census records. It's just hit or
Okay.
miss. It's just hit or miss. It's not 100% of their collection. We know that. So let's see what we get for the
He was in
Browns.
Montgomery County.
Okay. Oh, he's in Montgomery?
Montgomery County.
Because here's a William C. Vassar and Mrs. William C. Vassar in Brown County.
Brown. Okay, this could be
Okay, let's go back to Montgomery and see what we got here. Oh, I didn't want to do that.
Humboldt, Kansas, Montgomery, Kansas.
Yeah. Humboldt is in Allen County. Okay. So where's Kansas again? But there is a Montgomery. There's 4 things for Montgomery County.
Okay.
Okay. We have William E. Vassar.
Right.
Okay. And well, they can't decide if it's William E. or William C.
I can't tell the writing here. I don't know whether it's E or C.
Well, they don't know either is the problem.
Yeah.
They're having a little problem. But here we have some land records. It says whereas William, I'd say that's C. Vassar of Montgomery County, has deposited in the, he's buying the land from the United States government. A certificate of the Register of the Land Office of Humboldt County, whereby it appears that the full payment has been made by the said William C. Vassar, according to provisions of the Act of Congress of 1820. So this is being done. When is this being done? In 1876. So he started this before he's buying the land. It's not homesteading.
1869 or thereabouts.
Yeah. Well, that's when the joint resolution was done in 1869.
Oh, yeah, there. Okay.
And then we come down here, and this was being recorded in 1874. Okay, is when it was being done. So he is buying the land for he evidently wasn't eligible to homestead. He may have already had other land or something like that. But that's, so let's see what else we have for Montgomery. I think it's all land records. Come on, back we go. We seem to be, oh, that's why I just have to click on it. So here we have deeds, we have land records. So,
And you know, my paper
And-
does mention that Ulysses S. Grant
yeah,
on that
yeah,
one
he would.
before.
Okay, now here's something about his wife. Let's see what this says. Something about his wife is mentioned. See if this is really yours. Okay. Because Mary J is his wife. Does that sound familiar?
Well,
Okay.
yes,
Because when a married when a married man sold land, the
Yeah.
wife had to okay it because she had a right to the proceeds. So this is William C. Vassar and Mary Jane Vassar, his wife, of Cherokee Township in the county of Montgomery, so forth and so on. And they're selling their land to young Butler for $300. And here's the
now
legal
this
description.
one mentions the Humboldt.
Yeah. And it could be, like I said, not all the records have been scanned and put online. So
Okay.
there could be something for Humboldt. We just don't have it. But,
Yeah.
and then I don't know where Humboldt is. If we look for a key on this, it's a Kansas County record, county map. Let's see where, we'll just kind of go up here and blow this one up. And come on, bring it up. I want this to be busy. Okay. It's always good to know who's next to each other. Come on. Make it bigger so we can see it. All right. Do you have any idea where? Here's Montgomery down here. Where
Is there a
is
Humboldt?
No, it's Allen County. Humboldt is a city in Allen County. Okay, there is no Humboldt County.
Oh, okay.
So, and Allen is up here, which is relatively close. And that doesn't surprise me. It's, they settled
Yeah.
east to west. But as near as I can
Okay.
tell, there is no Humboldt County and so forth.
Okay.
So we've got some things going on around here as we kind of work our way through it.
Okay.
So,
Does mention
these things.
Ulysses S. Grant, something about that.
Yeah, well, it wasn't his signature, but he was president at the time, so they
Yeah,
put his signature
right.
on everything. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but there is no Humboldt County, Kansas. Humboldt, Kansas. Humboldt. There's
Okay.
no county by that name. Okay.
Okay. But it was signed by Ulysses S. Grant, believe it or not.
Well, he didn't actually sign it.
Oh,
It's not his signature. He had clerks that signed for him. He would have done nothing but signed land records all day long.
right, all the time. Yeah.
So that's all he did. That's all.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's it.
Okay.
Okay. So this is kind of a fun thing to do. And as time goes on, they add more and more things. You can, if you're in the full text, you can search, find a collection. If you don't really know, so if we did Ireland, I think we did this a while back. If we say, what do we have for Ireland? That's not quite. Let's try Ireland. So here's all the Ireland ones they have. A lot of Belfast, some land records. Dublin, Kilkenny marriages, properties, County Limerick religious. I don't know what that is. Let's look at Limerick and County, like Limerick religious, 1825. They don't tell me a whole lot of that. So let's put in Fitzgerald because that's Fitzgerald country. And let's just see if we find anything there. christening records, 1826 to 1842 in and what do we see? See, my problem is they don't really tell us. This is the Cathedral of St. Mary's in Limerick. Somebody has typed it up and they have now scanned it and put it in online. So here, these are really old records as we go through there. Let's, but they don't tell me anything about who did it or any of that other stuff. So, you can find that out by, they tell you what record it's coming off of. Just a second. Where's the source citation? This is the image group right here. So if I click on it, let's see if that tells me anything. No, it doesn't. So let's do this again. And let's do information up here. Information.
These are all the baptism records.
For the cathedral, but it doesn't really tell me where it came. Here's the details. Here's the citation. And here's the image group number. If I clicked on that, let's see what happens. See if they give more information. They give me a source, but I'd like to have more than just that. Nope, doesn't tell me anything. We'll try this. Yeah. So, because I would like to know what I'm looking at, and so this is what it is, and it starts with page 1 and goes through, and it says Limerick County, Limerick records, images, so forth and so on. But it doesn't. This isn't the best citation. It's not telling me a whole lot of what these are, where they came from, who did them, that kind of thing. So, but this full text search is a game changer. Just amazing. So we'll have to see what happens. Okay. All right. It's 8:30. I hope y'all, I'm going to stop sharing. See how many of you are still awake. But I hope it worked for you. Mary Kay, did you ever get your sound on? You must have. You stayed with it. Good. You stayed with us. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I think that's it for the day. Robin, you still coming in October? Is that the plan?
Yes. And
Okay.
Natalie and I would love to have a phone call with you soon.
Okay.
Because we're firming up, or if we can have a Zoom call, but I'll
Okay.
send you an email and we'll work that out.
Okay, good. Well, that's good.
Yeah, it's all being firmed up. We're definitely coming.
Good.
Just make sure we can actually get home and we don't end up somewhere else.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm being naughty. I shouldn't.
Oh, there's a certain number of people that agree with you, so don't worry about it.
Our families want us to make sure we come back to Brisbane.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. We'll make sure you get home. We'll make sure you get home as we go through there.
Thank you.
Sandra, it's good to see you. We're calling letting Calvin know that we sold his box that he gave us for a significant amount of money. I think she called and left him a number, so that was good to know. So that was it. Oh, you're not, your speaker's not, your microphone's not going on. You're not, no, you weren't muted. It just wasn't coming through. Now you're muted. Now you're muted. We can't hear you. Okay. All right. Well, we see you all next month and we'll figure out something else to do. And Michael, I'll see what I can do about your Philip Baptiste Schaefer.
Oh, thanks, Teresa. This was great. Thank you very much.
Y'all take care and we'll see what we can do.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Very
night now.
interesting.